The following program is rated PG-VG for gratuitous vaping. Strange Vapes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Strange Vapes. I am your host, Mo, your tour guide to the world of unusual flavor profiles. Today, we're talking pumpkins. In fact, we've got a Menage a Trois pumpkin. Tonight we're going to be looking at Boosted's Rear Diff. We're going to be looking at Fall by Coil Vapes, and we're going to be looking at Evil Pumpkin by 9 South Vapes. So let's start it off with Rear Diff. Alright, here's the thing about Rear Diff. It's incredibly mild. It's like almost forgettable. Don't take that wrong. That's not an insult. In fact, it's actually it's become one of my favorite juices to put in my Nautilus because it's so tank friendly. It doesn't lose any of its flavor going from dripper to tank, which is rare. That is a very rare thing. So I really like the fact that I can go from dripper to tank if I want to and still have the same flavor, in either one. It's actually, it's good. It won't clog up your coils, maintains its flavor. The problem is it's very mild. There's some spice in there. I know that Boosted likes to make the claim that, this is like all things, like fall and autumn rolled into one in a juice. It's not. It's a very mild spiced pumpkin, Although I do see Rear Diff having the most mass appeal out of all of the three juices, and I could see it doing the best with just a random selection taste test. It's not my personal favorite, but it is the one thing I will give it credit for. It is the one of the three that I would call an all-day vape. If pumpkin's your thing, and you don't want to oversaturate your palate with pumpkin, Rear Diff's probably the one to go for. It's not bad. And I want to keep all of these pretty short because this is going to be a really long episode otherwise. So that's all I'm going to say about Rear Diff. It's good. It's not great. I'll give it for flavor, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It is a little bit too mild for my taste, but on those rare occasions where I'm really itching for something pumpkin, it's actually kind of a perfect one to do. Now moving on, here's a first for Strange Vapes. I've got, I'm gonna cut to a field reporter, just happens to be me, doing an on the field, or should I say on the John, review of 9 South Vapes Evil Pumpkin.
Howdy folks, Mo here, bringing you a Strange Vape Voop exclusive. I am on the John here at my work, the only place a young man can get any sort of privacy. Which is true. Remember, drink your Ovaltine. I am bringing you my relatively quick review of 9 South's Evil Pumpkin. You should have just heard my review for Boosted's Rear Diff. I want to give a quick, just real quick, sort of, breakdown. 3 pumpkin flavors. There's not a lot to really go on, but here's the deal. Okay? Evil Pumpkin is very spice heavy. It's good. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd be interested in seeing if in a couple of months I'm still as interested in it, because it is a little anise heavy, or anise. I guess anise is how it's pronounced, star anise. And it's funny when you look at these pumpkin vapes. They all kind of like focus on like pumpkin pie spices, and I think that this one sort of focuses a lot on that star anise, which makes it almost taste like a pumpkin Jägermeister. It's very weird. There's a very licorice sort of flavor to it, which for me is not bad. I like licorice, so I'm kind of looking forward to the day when I do an absinthe vape review, but that's almost what it kind of reminds me of, like a pumpkin absinthe, you know, very licorice heavy, very heavy on the spice, but you get a very nice, pleasant undertone of the pumpkin, you know, throughout. Probably the most surprising thing in a vape, because like really when you think vaping, you don't really think pumpkin, you know, at least I don't. I know there's a couple of good pumpkin ones out there, and you know, if you're watching this right now, by the end of this, you'll know whether or not I liked these three or not. But getting back to Evil Pumpkin, you know, I could understand why somebody might not like this. You know, whereas with Serial Killer, it's a very pleasant, you know, it's a very approachable vape. You know, you could really just sit there and suck on it all night. You know, it's man, my job's getting to me tonight. But yeah, you can really sit there and you can toot on it all night. You can, you know, it's definitely an all-day vape. I mean, maybe some people it's not, but for me it is. And I don't think Evil Pumpkin really is. I don't think it works as an all-day vape. I do think it works, you know, as a I don't know, a special occasion vape. You know, you want to sit down Thanksgiving after dinner, vape some pumpkin pie. I mean, it's kind of what it's there for. Tis the season, really. So, I mean, well, let's just do a quick breakdown. I think I've explained enough of it. Like I said, it's very anise heavy, you know, licorice flavored, you know, licorice pumpkin. It's a weird flavor, but enjoyable if you're into that sort of thing. So for flavor, I'll give it, you know, because it's so star anise heavy, I'll give it a 3. You know, a 3 out of 5. It's good. It's not great. I was expecting way more out of it. You know, especially with how good Serial Killer is. For strangeness, do I think it's strange? Yeah, it is. It's very strange. You know, I gotta give them points for their packaging. These guys really know how to package a product. And I'll throw up some quick video here of what the packaging looks like. But, you know, the problem with it is that if you want to vape this stuff, like, conveniently, you're gonna be putting it in a different bottle. You know, the bottle's awesome. I love the little cork top. I love the twine wrapped around it. But if you want to vape this stuff regularly, you're going to have to put it into a dripper bottle. You're going to have to put it into something. Unless you're one of those types who uses like syringes to drip. And some people do. I don't. You know, I'd much rather have a glass dripper bottle. You know, so I don't know. We'll take one last toot and throw it back to myself in my bedroom. Studio, in my studio, and we'll look at the next one.
And that was our field reporter Mo telling you about Evil Pumpkin by 9 South. The only thing I failed to mention in that, I should say, is that you know, Evil Pumpkin was I vaped Evil Pumpkin for a good 2-3 days straight. And here's my biggest problem with Evil Pumpkin. It gunks the shit out of your coils. It really does. The first couple of days I was playing around with it, I didn't really notice it. Then on the third day, I started to notice it, and I started switching over to other flavors. Even changed out the wick. But the flavor, like there's something in one of the spices or something that just sticks to those coils and just does not want to come off. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could probably scrub them down and clean them out real good, but I didn't want to waste my time. I just ended up replacing the coils. But that's my biggest problem with Evil Pumpkin. So now moving on to Fall by Coil Vapes. All right. Fall is it's a spice-heavy sort of pumpkin bread. So while all these other ones would tend to focus on pumpkin pie, this is more of a pumpkin bread, and I actually kind of like that more because the pumpkin pies tend to focus more on the star anise, and I'm just not a big fan. I mean, really, the only negative thing I can say about Fall is that it's not an all-day vape. It's it's an evening vape. You could even vape it in the morning if you wanted to, but it's not an all-day vape. I'd say, a half hour, 45 minutes, and you're going to want to switch to something else. But it is still very, very tasty, and it's actually my favorite of the three. I love the real subtle and very pleasant hints of like nutmeg and cinnamon, and it really does. It tastes more like a bread. And of the three, this is the one I would definitely recommend the most. But like I said, it's not an all-day vape. And much like the Evil Pumpkin, the Fall, I wouldn't really suggest putting either of those in your tanks, because your tanks are going to end up smelling like pumpkin spice forever, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, some people don't want that. But as for flavor, I give it a 5 out of 5. I love it. I really do. I love it. It's not an all-day vape, but I would call it a must vape. So that's Fall from Coil Vapes. So, I mean, it's been a pretty quick episode. I kind of plowed through everything super quick. The last thing I want to mention is how strange it is. Is it strange? Now, keeping in mind that I'm in New England in the fall, so no, pumpkin really isn't all that strange right now, but any other time of the year, yeah, it kind of is pretty strange. Overall, I'd probably give it a 4. Yeah, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 for strangeness, except in the fall in New England, where pumpkin is everywhere, and then it's not strange at all. In fact, it's totally expected. So I needed to do a couple little things on the outro here. I wanted to welcome back my ZB box mod. They were kind enough to replace it for me because it had broke, and that was nice of them. I've got my Tobe back on here because my Tobe, after the menthol challenge, has become my menthol Addy. And so right now I am enjoying a little Zombrex from Hurricane Vapors, which is an apple, like a Granny Smith apple with a kick of menthol, but really the menthol comes off a lot heavier than I would normally have liked. It's not bad though. It's okay. I mean, I only just started vaping it. It's like I got it today, so we'll see how much I like it in a couple of days. But and I also want to give a huge shout out to Fusion Vapors, who did the chocolate bourbon flavor that I covered called Jacked, and they sent me over a little care package, which was very nice of them. I didn't ask them to do that. They did it on their own, and that was very nice of them. And I gotta say that in that care package, I might have just discovered my new, well, I'll say second favorite juice, because really Sea Siren by 28 Days Vape will hold that spot for a while probably. But I'll cut to a close-up, but this is it. It's called Orphan Tears by Fusion. It's in the Orphan line. There's also Orphan Blood and Orphan Sweat, because obviously where you have blood and sweat, you have tears. This is the newest one. This is a kiwi custard, and what I love about this is that when it changes flavor depending on what wattage you vape it at. So if you vape it at a very low wattage, you end up with a very rich, creamy sort of custard flavor. Very good. It's so far it's one of the only custards I've ever really appreciated. And if you crank that wattage up, it becomes a very intense sort of kiwi, and it is absolutely delicious. I thoroughly suggest everybody go and give it a shot. The Orphan Sweat is also very good. The Orphan Blood, it's still kind of trying to grow on me a little bit, but for right now, I'm not a huge fan. I haven't found the sweet spot for it. And then they also gave me this very nice strawberry, it's like a strawberry cream called Strawberry in Your Soul, and this one's really good too. This one also changes depending on the wattage you vape it in, but I can't remember what the change is. Either way, it's very good. I think this one's the opposite. I think when you do low, it's a strawberry, and when you go high, it's like a custard. But either way, it's very good, very good. So tune in next week. I'm debating about what I'm gonna cover. I've got some flavor. I've got a ton of flavors coming in, so I'm gonna debate about which one I'm gonna do. And so keep an eye on the Facebook page. You know where to find me, and keep vaping strange. Do you have an unusual juice you'd like me to try? Email me at strangevapes@gmail.com, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.